Hello, boys and girls. It's that time again. Your favorite time and mine, Catechism time. Now, we've got an exciting question to learn this evening, but first let's take a moment and review, starting with question 9. Question 9. What does God require in the first, second, and third commandments? Answer: first, that we know God as the only true God. Second, that we avoid all idolatry. And third, that we treat God's name with fear and reverence. Question 10. What does God require in the fourth and fifth commandments? Answer: fourth, that on the Sabbath day we spend time in worship of God. Fifth, that we love and honor our father and our mother. And now, boys and girls, that brings us to question 11, which has to do with the next three commandments, commandments number 6, 7, and 8. Here's the question. Question 11. What does God require in the 6th, 7th, and 8th commandments? 6th, that we do not hurt or hate our neighbor. 7th, that we live purely and faithfully. 8th, that we do not take without permission that which belongs to someone else. As you can see, it's on the board here behind me. Question 11, what does God require in the 6th, 7th, and 8th commandments? Answer: 6th, that we do not hurt or hate our neighbor. 7th, that we live purely and faithfully. 8th, that we do not take without permission that which belongs to someone else. Very good. Now, question 11 helps us understand what it means to keep these three commandments: not to murder, not to commit adultery, and not to steal. I've invited another special guest to help us this week. He's an old friend of mine and Mr. Monkeybottom's, and some of you know him quite well. The guest is our dear friend, Mr. Cubby Bear. We've got him live from Timothy's apple farm. Cubby, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here, Clarence. I'm here, Mr. Monkeybottom. I can see you. Hi. And hi, boys and girls. It's me, Cubby. Boy, have I missed you all. It's been an unusual summer, hasn't it? I've been spending time with Timothy and Katie Collie and Lovey Lamb on the apple farm, but I have missed seeing you guys. I was so happy when Catechism Clarence and Mr. Monkeybottom asked me to tell you all about question 11 of the Catechism. So, question 11 starts with the 6th commandment, which tells us not to murder. But did you know that keeping the 6th commandment means a lot more than just not being a murderer? It does. It also means that we should be careful not to hurt or hate anybody. Keeping this commandment means we don't hit people when we're mad, or push them, or bite them, or pull their hair, or do anything that would hurt them. Yes, Mr. Monkeybottom, even if they hurt us first. We don't hurt people. We also don't say things that would hurt them either, like calling them names or saying we don't like them. You boys and girls know that words can hurt too, don't you? And so keeping this commandment also means we're careful not to hurt people with mean words. Well, yeah, Mr. Monkeybottom, telling someone that they smell like a stinky old banana peel is pretty mean, and that would probably hurt somebody's feelings. God made us, and He loves us, and He doesn't want us to hurt each other like that. He also doesn't want us to hate each other. You know, even if we don't hit someone or say something mean to them, we can still be mean to them in our hearts, in our thoughts, by hating them. And God knows our hearts. He knows what's happening in our thoughts. And so He tells us not to hate either. Mr. Monkeybottom, did you know that God knows everything you're thinking about? Even if you don't say it out loud, He does. He even knows what you're thinking about right now. So, that's the 6th commandment. You shall not murder, and that means we're not to hurt or hate our neighbor. Now, the 7th commandment, not to commit adultery, means that we're to live purely and faithfully. Keeping this commandment means certain things for moms and dads and grown-ups, but for you boys and girls, keeping the seventh commandment means you need to be faithful and keep your promises. When you say you're going to do something, you need to do it. When you promise to share your toys or clean your room or not to say something that someone else doesn't like, you need to keep that promise and not break it. This is especially important for grown-ups when they get married and promise to be faithful to each other. But really, all of us need to keep our promises and be faithful. Exactly. Now, the last commandment we're going to talk about today, the eighth commandment, tells us not to steal. And that means we don't take something that doesn't belong to us without permission. If you see your brother's toy lying around, you don't just take it for yourself, even if nobody's looking. First, you need to ask permission from your brother. Or if you need a purple crayon and you can't find it, you don't just go take your sister's crayon. You ask permission first. Or if you see your mom and dad have some ice cream in the freezer, you don't just go take it and eat it. You need to ask their permission first. Otherwise, you're stealing it. And that's what God tells us not to do in the eighth commandment. Even if nobody's around and nobody's looking, God still sees, doesn't he?
Cubby, hypothetically, if someone came into the kitchen and they saw some, banana pudding on the counter, some pudding that someone else had made and was very much looking forward to enjoying after supper that evening, and that person, a hairy person, let's say, upon discovering this banana pudding, decided just to eat it all themselves without asking permission. Would that be stealing?
Well, Clarence, that's a very specific example, but yes, that would be stealing. Stealing is taking without permission that which belongs to someone else, even banana pudding.
And Cubby, what should a person who has stolen something or broken any of these commandments do when they realize they've broken God's law?
Well, if someone realizes they've broken God's law, they should confess what they've done and ask for forgiveness, both to the person they've hurt, either by stealing or saying mean words, and also to God. They should ask the person they've hurt to forgive them, and they should ask God to forgive them for breaking his law.
Thank you, Cubby. This has been very informative and I trust helpful for all of us. Right, Mr. Monkeybottom? Well, yes, of course, I forgive you, old friend. I forgive you now and I always will. Come here. Yes. Oh, very good. Okay, all right. Now, there you have it, boys and girls, the 6th, 7th, and 8th commandments. So, let's review, shall we? Question 11. What does God require in the 6th, 7th, and 8th commandments? 6th, that we do not hurt or hate our neighbor. 7th, that we live purely and faithfully. 8th, that we do not take without permission that which belongs to someone else. Let's repeat that together. We'll take the answer one at a time. Question 11, what does God require in the 6th, 7th, and 8th commandments? Answer, 6th, that we do not hurt or hate our neighbor. 7th, that we live purely and faithfully. 8th, that we do not take without permission that which belongs to someone else. Excellent, boys and girls. You're learning and progressing every week, and I'm so proud of you. Now, it's time to call it an evening, so sleep well, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.